G'day, it's Andrew here from Aquila Property Investment. I'm out and about in Bracken Ridge today, which is a lovely suburb in the north of Brisbane. Just doing some inspections. I wanted to talk to you quickly about the Brisbane property market. In particular, I wanted to talk you through options under the $400,000 bracket, which most investors can afford and which provide some good capital growth and rental opportunities. So firstly, I want to start with houses. The good news is you can still buy houses in Brisbane under $400,000. You're not going to get them in the immediate Brisbane City Council area, but if you push out slightly into the wider council areas of Moreton Bay, Logan, Ipswich, you can still get a good quality house on a decent block for under $400,000. My pick would be Moreton Bay. It's got a better future supply demand profile, I think, than the other two areas. But the key is to find good value that's going to provide good opportunities for capital growth. Now, you've got a couple options. You can push out further and target a newer property, which will give you a better rental return, or you can get in closer and buy something with a higher component of land, which is going to give you more of capital growth, but maybe a slightly less rental return and a slightly lower amount to depreciate. So you've got a couple options there. In terms of townhouses, there's some good opportunities in the middle ring of Brisbane. So talking about that kind of 15 to 20k radius, Bracken Ridge is a good example of that. I would stick to 3-bed, 2-bath townhouses if you can. That's a more flexible property type. It's more likely to be rented and it's more likely to be in demand for buyers as well. And ideally get into a smaller complex as possible to minimise your body corp and increase your land value. Now, turning to the Brisbane unit market, we know the sentiment towards this market is pretty bad from investors. What this is doing though is opening up some opportunities in the inner suburbs for some underpriced apartments in small complexes on decent sized blocks. So I'm talking maybe 6 apartments and you might be getting a 2-bed, 1-bath, older style brick apartment in that complex. But you're getting that at, in some cases, under $350,000, and you're getting in some of Brisbane's best suburbs, which have great access to all the amenities of the CBD and all the infrastructure and services that come. With the fact there is an oversupply of particularly a high-rise and medium-rise new stock in Brisbane is taking a bit of a toll on the rental market. And it will mean that your capital growth will be a little bit lower to start with. But in the long term, you're sitting on a high quality block of land and you've got an apartment at well below construction cost. So I think that's a pretty good deal for under $400,000, and it's not something you could really imagine in Sydney or Melbourne right now. So when we're looking at either of these options, so houses, townhouses, or apartments, one of the big focuses I want you to make is on land value, okay? And the key here is to get at least a substantial portion of the overall purchase in land value. People make the mistake, particularly at the lower end of the market, they buy a property that has a high level of built value, but has a low level of land value. And the problem is if you buy in an area where land values are low, it's very easy for developers to come in and build lots of new stock in that area, okay? And what that means is that you're relying on the cost of construction to increase in order for you to make your money. And that's not a very good equation, particularly as your property is depreciating relative to the new builds that are occurring in your area. So that's something to really watch out for.